We're going to finish up this lesson. We're recording this. We're finishing up lesson 1, which is Kithmaze here. And then we'll go on the second world. I've also put on the handouts the PDFs for this. So if you want those, we've got those as well. All right. And if you go on Young Engineers of Today under teacher stuff, you will get, go under teacher materials, you can find all these code combat files. All right. As well as what we've given you here. Now, this final method of this one is using self-build, there it is, XY, and then that's what it's called, self-build XY, parentheses, build type, comma, X, comma, Y. That's the method. So let's use an example. Self-build, quotation, quote, fence, quotation, comma, 36, comma, 30. You got build type, you've got your string, you've got your fence. X number 36, X, Y 30. All right? So that's what we've got here. And that's what you're going to be using in this. This is the X and Y coordinates down here. It can be fence, it can be a house, it can be different things. So in this final Kithmaze, you're looking at building 3 walls, 3 fences. You're going to be in the X coordinate the whole time and the Y coordinate. And then you're going to move yourself out of the way. So real quick, go ahead, do those final, and there's another event too. Go ahead and knock those out right now. Raise your hand once you have those done. So you're ready to go on the next. Okay, and remember, as we're sitting there, I'll just tell you, remember, programming is taking a big program, a complex program, and breaking it down into little bits. Okay? So raise your hand once you have it. There's some questions. Thank you. So let's get caught up and let's work to the end of this. And again, and I'll review some highlights for those people who need to see it. If you don't need to see it, if you already remember most of the stuff, I'm not going to pull you away from what you're doing. But here's a method. Self is your character, dot. The method is moved down. We assign variables this way. Here's a variable name, assignment operator, which is an equal sign, and the value of 3. Quotation dubik would be literally quotation sign the name. And when we did Minecraft, it has that same part on there. All right. Now, okay. Then we went through here, we learned the sword method, we have self-attack target, self being yourself, Treg, if it was the name of the monster was Treg. When you don't know the name of the monster, you do self-find nearest enemy, assign it to enemy, and do self-attack enemy. Then you have integer, 4, floating point number 40, true, and then strings. These are different types. It could be integers, it could be floating point, which is just saying it has a decimal. Boolean is true or false. And strings are 4. Then we started talking about loops. And a loop in Python is different. The different languages do it a little bit differently. Okay? What's great is, and what I want you to get of loops is, the idea of loops, if-then statements are true across all the languages, but they are, pardon me, I'm sorry, start here, but they're just done a little bit differently. In this case, it's loop, colon, colon, self move right, self move down, move right, move up. It'll repeat that over and over again. Or you might do a loop like this, hey, find the nearest enemy. If I find an enemy, I'm going to make it enemy, and if it's an enemy, I'm going to attack it. So that loop would just go on indefinitely looking for enemies. All right, we got some questions here. No, that's fine. I'm going to hold on I'm not caught up. Yeah, you can go ahead if you missed it. What did I miss? Oh, you missed. You got to go on the webinars and watch them, my friend. We've been going through Code Combat. Okay. The PDF, I said, if you'll download the PDFs, that'll get you started on it. You're going to register for Code Combat. Don't pay money for anything, and work your way through them. I've got PDFs. If you look under handouts, you go down. That will help you. Folks, once you get through this level, raise your hand so that way I know to go on to the next. Up here, if you don't remember this, we very conscientious about assigning a variable to a variable name. So a variable is quotation craft, quotation crat, capital K-R-A-T-T, quotation, assign it to enemy 1. Self-attack, enemy 1. Self-attack, enemy 1. Okay. And the other method was find the nearest enemy. And that's the method where I go out, I find the nearest enemy, assign it to enemy, and then I just attack it. It's a great way to go ahead and attack enemies. Find the nearest enemy, assign it to enemy 1, self-attack, enemy 1, self-attack, enemy 1. And when you get enemy 1, you can just assign it to 1. This just keeps doing it over and over again. And then, of course, that's where we just got the skills granted for building. So I'll just wait here. Raise your hand as you get these. I got a couple people. Let me know as you're coming, guys. Another question. Can you use your account from last year? Yeah. Remember, we're doing Python, not script. When do we raise our hands? You raise them once you're ready to go on to the next level. In a few minutes, we're going to probably do that. To the end one, then it'll take you out of it. All right? I don't have it up and running, guys. Can you tell me what those level numbers, the last level number? Those folks that have already done it. All right, we got 2. Cooper, what's the last level on that? On the first level, I'm sorry, Cooper. The last level we did is Cooper Meadows. What number? Do you remember what that is? Copper Metals, I'm sorry. Then I want to go ahead. It's 8:30 here in a minute, or 7:30 your time, and we'll get going to the next. I've got half of the folks here. Defense of Plainwood. Are we on the second or first world? We're on the second world. 15 or 16. Let's go ahead and move on to the second world here, folks. In 1 minute. We'll give you just a couple more minutes. We'll do it. All right, let's go on. Let me go on the second slide here. Now, sometimes you'll get on there. They'll offer you subscriptions. We'll give you special levels and challenges, little mini game things. You do not need to do it for this class, but if you really get into it, might be something to consider. Make sure you talk to your folks. Make sure you can, at the bottom of the screen, realize that's where your health is. This is where we started. Here's control sound and music. Here we expand the screen. Here we use the zoom and zoom out. Those are useful. Remember, programming is simply identifying the problem, cutting it into smaller pieces, writing instructions step by step. The hardest part of programming is problem solving. Now these challenges are going to get a little more difficult as we go through each way. John, make sure that you are using Chrome, and it might be because the webinar is slowing you down. Okay, so defensive Plainwood is the very first one, I believe. And it is build. You put your mouse over points and you're going to get the X and Y coordinates. And once you have that, you can do fence 40, 52, defense 40, 20. There's also, I'm going to give you a couple of these methods so you can use them in place. Self-say message to me is pretty obvious, say, and then message, which needs to be in quotes because it's going to be literally. Say hi, that does hi. All right. And this is self-move 24, 35. So 24, 35. So self-move X 24. I'm sorry, guys. This silly mouse does this. All right. So you're moving, and you're moving towards the 25. Your self-move, you have got two parameters you have to pass to, two things it needs to work. It needs the X coordinate and Y coordinates. And you can get those by pointing your X over the map. All right. So remember these from scratch. You're just your math class. So there's to your left, there's your right, there's your up, and there's your down. So this is your X-axis. Here's your Y-axis. The move action requires two pieces of information. When you want your hero to go horizontal or the X-axis, and where you want to go on the vertical axis. And so here you see the different X, Y. By clicking on each one of these, you get a value to do that. And then you might end up going all the way down to where you build a fence. Okay? I'll give you just a couple minutes to get started. Well, let me take you to the next thing too, so that way we can take it out. This is the if-else loop, all right? What this says is, look over here on the left. Self is ready to cleave, self-cleave the enemy, else self-attack. So imagine cleave is a command where you're swinging a two-handed sword. And you just can't keep swinging it, you need to recharge. So what it's going to do is it's going to say, is ready, cleave. And what that's saying is, as the cleave, have you used the cleave recently? And the answer is no, then it's ready. So you say self-cleave enemy. So I'm going to use that action. Else, that means the cleave wasn't ready. I'm just going to attack the enemy. All right? The if statement says, if this is true, then do that. You can also add the else statement, which says, otherwise do something else instead. You can even combine else with if to say, if this is true, then do that. Otherwise, if this is true, then do that. Otherwise, do something else instead. So you have if else, or else if I should say. If, else if, else. So we're finding the nearest enemy, you find the enemy, you attack. If you find the nearest enemy and it's not an enemy, move. Else if enemy is a thrower, so in other words, the enemy is going to throw something, yeah, attack the enemy. Else if, this is very frustrating. Else if the enemy is ready, thrower, then attack. Self-attack enemy. Else if is ready, a cleave, and self-distance to enemy is 10 or less than 10, go ahead and cleave them. Else, put up your shield. So you can get into some very complicated things the guy's going to do. True and false logic, using conditional expressions. In other words, if this is true, then do this. You know, and we've done that a little bit with Scratch in the past. They operate off of Boolean logic. Sam will run a sequence of codes if it's true. Once in the level, click Game Menu in the upper middle of your screen where it has Game Menu, and make sure under Options Show Indent Guides, because this will help you. These little lines show you, hey, I need to be lined up right here to get that if statement, because in Python, white space matters. Okay? It's a little bit weird, but go into the main Game Menu up at the top where it says that, and then Options Show Indent Guides. You know, line 4, if 2 plus 2 is 4, that's what equal means right here, like we think of in math. Then the condition's true, and it'll say hi. If 2 plus 2 equals 5, say yes. Well, it's never going to run, say yes, you. Because we just don't have 2 plus 2 does not equal 5. So in this case, line skip, we say yes, you, this, because the condition's false, because if 2 plus 2 equals 5 is not true, it's false, then it says yes, you. All right. Assignment operators assign a value to a variable, and that's what this equal is. That's just saying 14, assign it to age. The age, as far as the computer concerned, age means 14. Whereas equal, to see if something is equal or greater, something the way you think of math is 2 of these equal signs. See, in programming we use this all the time. We use this less, so therefore that's why they did it that way. In Thumbiter, you're going through doing the code, and what's really just saying is you got to check to make sure they're both true. So if 3 plus 3 is equal to 6, say come at me. Add one more add one more taunt to lure the ogre Birkev. If 2 plus 18 is 20, self say boo. Gyms or death, using true false conditions on that. In other words, you're going through each one of these things and deciding which ones you want to have happen and keep them true or not true. That's all you're doing on the code. You're not really writing code. You're making sure the algebraic expressions are either true or untrue, depending on what you want. Like if 1 plus 1 is 3, well, it's never going to be 1 plus 1. And you might not want that. You want to go to the first gem, not to the first mine. All right? So why don't you start working on those now for a little while. Yeah, we're on the fence of Plainwood. We're now already up to this point. But I've given you the PDF so you can just follow along. So people that are ahead, just keep going ahead. That's why we have the PDFs. I'll wait there. Let me know as you get past this point, folks. Keyshawn, level 4, which one? Which one are you stuck on, bud? What's the title of it? And I'm assuming you're level 4 in the second world. Raise your hand if you get it. Gyms or death? All right, well, here, look at up here. If 1 + 1 is 3, move to the first of mines. Do you want to move your character to the mines? I don't think you want to move the mines, so don't change that one. Move to the first gem. 2 + 2, make that equal to 4. Yes. That'll take you to the gem, so correct that. Move to the second gem. Again, we want that true, so make sure you change these so these are true. If 2 + 2 is greater than 3, find the nearest enemy and attack the enemy. That's what that'll do. If 2 is greater than 4, move to XY 40, 55. Well, you don't want to move to 40, 55 necessarily. That's a beast up there. If false, move XY 50 to 10. Now I'm trying to figure out where FY 50 to 10 is. You want to go, if true, move to XY 55, 25. So just leave it at that. It'll go. Not really writing code. You're kind of looking at math expressions on this. How we doing, folks? Raise your hand, some more of you when you get it, so we can go on. All right. Let me know how we're coming here. Keyshawn, once you get it, let's move on. All right, let's go ahead and move on to some more things here, folks. Okay? Remember, your hero must survive. You may not even know the enemies exist yet. All right, again, we're back to find the nearest enemy, and then this should be self-attack enemy, self-attack enemy. It can also be kind of a condition for an if statement. If it does find an enemy, the variable enemy will be evaluated to be true. If it doesn't find the enemy, the variable enemy will be evaluated as false. So, find the nearest enemy. If the enemy is true, attack it. Otherwise, don't. Attack throwers and munchkin ogres. Retreat from type ogre enemies. Oh, attack thrower and munchkin ogres. Retreat from typing ogre and I'm not that burl. Type burl. Only attack enemies of type munchkin and thrower. Don't attack a burl. Run away from an ogre. So here's where you type the enemy. Loop. So it's going to repeat over and over again. Enemy equals find the nearest enemy. If the enemy type is a burl, I'm not attacking that burl. Say it. If the enemy type is a munchkin, self-attack enemy. So go after the munchkin. If it's a thrower, go ahead and go after the thrower. So if enemy type is thrower, quotation, lowercase thrower, quotation, semicolon, self-attack the enemy. And finally, if the enemy type is ogre, move the heck away from it. We use a loop in this case because we don't know what we're going to run into. We want to continuously check for enemies. You know, look for errors, look for just things. You know, there's no semicolon. If the enemy is attacked, you need that. So there it is. Now it'll work. Thornbush Farm, patrol the village entrance, build a fire trap when you see an ogre, don't blow up any peasants. Seems straightforward. Again, you got another loop. You're going to say self-move to 4350. Find the nearest enemy, and this at the top. If top enemy, build a fire trap. Else, move to 2534. Find the enemy and go to left enemy. All right. Waiting for folks here. All right, folks, still waiting on here. It's been a couple minutes. We still just barely getting people up on this. All right. So in this case, you're doing another loop. You're moving. Find the nearest enemy. If it's the top, you're going to attack it. If left enemy, find it for the find the nearest enemy again. Only you're going to send it to left enemy. And I think you can see where we're going with this. You know, if you've got that top enemy, fire trap right there. Okay. Find the nearest enemy. There's the enemy. Build a fire trap based on where that enemy is. And another fire trap. And again, another one of these. Fight the ogres, poor ogres. If statement happens, if it's true. In this code for this, and back to back, you got self, find, and nearest enemy. When you do, assign to the variable enemy. If enemy is true, then self-attack the enemy. By the way, so that's again, we're using this if-else statement, tying it up with the loops. All right, it's getting closer to 9 here. All right, what do you need help with on level 4? I'm not sure. Keyshawn, let's go back, you and I, into level 4 and see what you don't understand. Where are you getting your message, dude? More importantly, what don't you understand on it? Keyshawn, which ones do you need, bud? What to put or how to put it. You're going in there and just changing the code. Make these corrections I'm showing you up here. Okay, folks. I'm waiting for Keyshawn to get back. Does anybody else have any questions? Will you do it? I've just showed it to you. Please go into the code and just try, Keyshawn. Find out where the error message is and try. What error messages? I don't understand what error messages. It's ERROR, not AIR, I'm assuming. All right, we're starting to lose people now. Anybody else? John, yeah, I mean, did you get all the way up there? I'm sad. It's kind of a quiet night because I'm waiting on everybody else here. Not babbling just to babble. Yeah, you can go. I'm done. Good job. What message? I don't see. I don't know what message you're talking about, Keyshawn. You just have to go up and look at the code and make sure look, you got to decide. Do you want to go to 515, which is the first mine? That's right here, 515. Or do you want to move to the first gem? All right, the first gem. We want to go to the first gem, so you make sure this code is right. You want to make sure that isn't right, so it reports a false, so it won't do this. This is true, then it'll go to the first gem. The next bit of code, 2 plus 2 is at 4, this moves you to the second gem. You're really not entering code like you did in the past. How are we doing there, Keyshawn? All right, folks, unless you've got a question, you can go ahead and go. I'm waiting on Keyshawn to see if he's got another question or what we need to do here. What do I do for the enemy? Well, pick which code. Do you want to go after the enemy or not? If you want to do that, attack the enemy, then just make sure this is correct. If you don't, then make it so it's incorrect. Open up. Can you open up? No, not right now. I can't because I'm not on Python at that level 2. I'm not sure you're going to get that much out of it all. I mean, Keyshawn, I can't do that for you, buddy. Let me try, see if I can pull it up there, but I don't believe I can. And I think I've shown you the code to do it. That's why I'm just surprised you're having a hard time with it. All right, hang on. All right. Let me see if I can find it. See, I'm not sure. All right. All right, so let's make sure he's all outfitted. He's got boots. You know, I'm going to equip him with that. All right. So he's all equipped there. So let's play. Now, what's going to happen? I'm going to start the level. Okay, so see all these different moves? You're seeing which way you want them to go. You don't want them, right? See, I've already played this, so it wants to show it, but let me just go back again. Watch. So I'm going to, up there, I made sure this was true. I made sure this one was true. And I made sure to the second gym, to the first gym, move to the first mines. Well, you don't have to do that. 1 + 1 + 1 = 4. Well, it's not. So I didn't go to the first mine. Start back here. I got to the first gym. I didn't go to the mine. I went to the next gym. So I'm just changing my code down there, okay? Keyshawn, have you tried it? The end. Everybody's off the webinar. You don't have to stay here. I'm just helping out those people that want it. I'm helping out Keyshawn here. Keyshawn, has that helped? I've got the screen right here. All right, I'll wait for you. Keyshawn, let me know how we're coming here, buddy. I'm not sure why you're typing the whole thing. All you have to do is make one little simple correction. I'm 11. I'm not sure I'm asking. I'm not sure why you're typing all that. Okay, I'm going to need to go here in a minute. The first correction I'm happy to do is we don't want to correct that one because we don't want it to go to the mines. We do want to correct the second one, so we do go to the first gem. This is true. If 2 and 2 is not 5, then move to the second gem. That's what we want. All right. Then next thing is find the nearest enemy and attack it. So if 2 plus 2 is less than 4, do that. So that's what it does. Next question. If 2 is less than 1, move to 40-55. We don't really want to go to 40-55. I think it's way up there and nasty. So we're just going to say no. If this is true, move to 55-25. That's that one. False, move to 25-25. We don't want it to be false. So you could put not false, but you just wouldn't do it. You're working it. I'll give you got stick-to-itiveness, my friend. Sorry. All right, Keyshawn, where we stand on this, bud? Okay, Keyshawn, I'm going to need to go now. It's almost 9:30 at where I live. Okay, buddy? It's right here. You can see the code. I'll watch for you up there. You're just checking. You're just making go in certain ways. You're saying, hey, if this is true, do this. It's in the PDF I gave you. Download the PDF. It has all the code there. You can take a picture, but I'm telling you, you got it in the PDF, my friend. These two handouts, it's right there. You take your picture yet? Good. All right, man. I'm glad you got it. Take care, dude. All right? Write me if you've got any more questions, but really look at the PDF. It'll help you. All right. Bye-bye.